sentimental that this could be your final assignment in Scarlet and Gray?
Well, you feel like it's not going to be your last one, so it might be one of the easier, not easier things, but the ability to not have to worry about it and think about it. Like, there's so much on your plate right now that you haven't thought about those things. I think one of the tougher things was just as you left before the bowl game, and you start trying to clean out some stuff and make some boxes and get rid of some of the stuff that you got or put it away, and that's when maybe it started to hit you a little bit. But you know me, I try not to allow myself to have those thoughts and those things, to stay focused on what it is we're doing. But with what's going on, it's not the easiest thing in the world.
But you don't have time to. You have such a big job ahead of you. But you've invested.
That's the best thing about it.
Decades of your life.
There's no time to reflect. And people would say that might be crazy, but you've heard me say it before. Time to reflect will be later on, maybe when you do have some of that downtime or that moment. But there's no time right now to think back, to reflect on some of those things. You got a task at hand. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. You got the utmost respect for these guys, these kids, these players, Coach Meyer, my alma mater, to make sure the most important thing is to focus on what's the task at hand.
Are you hiring the Notre Dame offensive coordinator?
I'm still focused on what's happening here in Arizona, and that's the most important thing. And those kinds of things we'll wait until the next couple of weeks and get this journey done with first.
Luke, do you take a page out of Tom Herman's book? He went through the same thing 2 years ago, getting a head coaching job and sticking around for the playoffs. Do you kind of use that blueprint?
I talked with Tom before this kind of went down, and just to get some of his thoughts and the different things that he did and how he tried to stay focused and keep himself in line. And I think one of the number one things was to have good people around you, and that's one of the biggest things I learned 6 years ago when I was put in a situation where I had to do some different things. And some of the things I didn't do well was trust and rely on those that are around you, the ones that you can really rely on and put some more stuff on their back. So I've had the good fortune to be able to do that with some guys back home to put a lot on their plate. And Marcus Freeman and Doug Phillips are back there kind of holding the fort down, which allows me to make sure the most important thing that's at hand right now is this game.
Can you talk about the challenges stopping Clemson's offense?
It's very difficult. Obviously, we played them, I think, 4 years ago in the Orange Bowl. Obviously similar, but different in a lot of ways. I think the number one thing is obviously Deshaun, and the ability for him to make every throw, to be an incredibly balanced attack offensively, is what scares you as a defense. When people are more one-dimensional, and even obviously we didn't do a great job of it 4 years ago when we played them in the Orange Bowl, but I think they were a little bit more of a true running team. Obviously with Sammy Watkins and some of those guys, they had the ability to throw the football, but I think that the biggest difference might be the quarterback Taj as opposed to Deshaun, and his ability to be a true make every throw quarterback, the guy that's going to play for a long time at the next level, a guy with his head on shoulders to truly run the offense the way they want it run.
You've been around a lot of good defensive lines, including the one that you played on. How's this defensive line stack up as far as, the backups, like you have Bosa, Holmes, Landers are backups on this defensive line. How good is this defensive line?
Well, with the exception of the 96 line, it's probably the best there right now. It's, when you start to look at defensive lines, and again, last year you looked at our defensive line and you obviously had Joey Bosa was one of those guys that just ultimately stood out and had all the attention and everything. But I think we've gotten better, and the better with the depth and the ability for 8 guys to play. And there's not a drop-off. I couldn't tell you who the starting ends are, and it doesn't really matter. 2 of them might be here today, but there very well could be, Jalen Holmes and Nick Bosa, and along with Sam and Taekwon. It doesn't matter who's in the game, and the ability to get those guys in the game is more difficult for us because we want them all out there at all the time. So the depth we've got, the way Coach Johnson has kind of rolled those guys, his ability to have them grow throughout the entire season, keep them fresh, I think is the key to our success.
Who's come the furthest on that line? Is there one guy, maybe Landers or somebody who's...
There's so many. You would say, oh my goodness, and sometimes you look out there and Bosa's, that 97 has flashes of what you saw last year. The expectations for him were so high, so I don't know if you have seen the growth that, what you saw from the very beginning, but there's so many guys. Jalen Holmes has come on so much, and I know that everybody had such high expectations, but from last year to where he is right now, you would have him out there in any situation. There's some inside guys, Draymond Jones, nobody knew who Draymond Jones was last year. Obviously he was redshirted. his ability, I know he's a starter, but his ability to the growth that he's had from game one to right now, he's always had the athleticism, he's always had the ability to make some big plays, but the way he's taken on double teams and doing the things we need him to do, again, I think is the key to our success.
You talked about Deshaun earlier. Can you talk about the matchup with those wide receivers and your DBs? Obviously, a five-star matchup with those two sets.
And I think when people ask me, I think that's where it comes down to. I mean, we do what it is that we do, and they're going to do what they do. And I think the ability for us to be able to match up out there is going to be huge. I mean, I don't think we've seen, I know we haven't seen a receiver crew like this all year. We've faced some good guys and we faced some good crews. Nothing with this versatility, this size, this speed, and also with the ability to throw the ball down the field. You know, sometimes you get against a group of receivers that really have some ability, but sometimes they don't always have the guy that can get them the ball. And the ability for Deshaun and them to throw the ball down the field. I mean, he throws an incredible deep ball, but they got some incredible guys that have the ability to go up and get it as well. So I think that is going to be a huge matchup. I know for us, that's one of those things that we've been tested a little bit, but never tested like we're going to be tested on Saturday.
What are your thoughts on Mike Williams and his ability to high point the ball and the different aspects of what he brings to that offense?
That's what worries you. I mean, you can be in perfect coverage and it doesn't matter sometimes. You know, and you know, maybe you have a guy over the top of him, an ability. You know, we got one guy that we like that, you know, really can go up and get balls and find balls in Malik Hooker. But again, it's one of them shots that's up. It's a 50-50 ball, and anybody can come down with it. You know, now when the ball isn't thrown as well, you know, we feel like we're in a lot better position, a lot better situation to be able to make those plays. But the way Deshaun throws it, that's going to be a big matchup in the game.